I may be wrong, but there is a WWE superstar on the WWE roster right now who has just gone 41-0. 41-0. And look, I may not be dead on with the number, but all you really need to know is that he has now been undefeated since August 2019. Let me just check. Yep, that's a long ass time ago. It also means if he can hold this off for a few more months, he will have a 2-year undefeated streak, and I am talking about the one and only Mansoor. You may mostly recognize him from some of WWE's Saudi Arabia shows, but what WWE needs to do right now is take advantage of this. Why? My hand is broken. Here's why. So yeah, back on the 23rd of August 2019 at a house show, Dominik Dijakovic, now known as T-Bar of Retribution, did indeed beat Mansoor before he went on this incredible run. Now there's some kind of weird issues here, because if you look into it, it appears that Mansoor has had 45 matches, so what the hell happened there? But it doesn't matter, he is still on the streak. Someone somewhere picked up on this too and started hammering it home on 205 Live, and if you can believe it, all of a sudden every single match he was having was far more exciting than when we weren't talking about this. And that's nothing against Mansoor. Mansoor is clearly a talented cat, but what we did is we gave him something extra, which all of a sudden made fans go, oh, what, that's quite interesting. Maybe I'll have a look. So basically it just takes new guys and put them up to the next level, and then all of a sudden it hit me like a ton of bricks. So let's just get in our DeLorean and travel back to WrestleMania 30. Now I know it's not the same as Impact, but the logic is the same. 80,000 people were so shocked and so stunned and so surprised that The Undertaker's undefeated WrestleMania streak was gone that they sat there and went like this. It was just astounding that after 21 victories over 2 decades, that this would be it. The end. Done. Nada. No more. Up your ass. And I love it for this very fact because it's as real as it gets, and it just goes to show that if you do put some time and some worth into something, people will react to it. And let's be honest too, if Daniel Bryan hadn't have won the world title in the main event, I bet a bunch of fans would look back now on WrestleMania 30 and go, man, that was so pants, that was the worst day of my life. When actually, it's a perfectly decent card. I don't think moving Mansoor to the main roster with all this instantly adds him to that bracket, but what it does do, like I say, is give all of us who may not be aware of his exploits up to this point something to care about. An issue WWE has had for a while now is that when most new guys and girls get put in there, they're not given anything special, so they just have to try and get over as best as they can. Because everybody's having good matches nowadays, so you can't rely on that. That's basically an expectation. And you give a scripted promo to most people and they just melt down because it's not them talking from the heart, it's not them talking from the brain. When you give everybody something like this though, you can feed it to them on a silver platter, because who can't understand this? You can then start teasing the audience as well, like, oh my gosh, Mansoor, he only won by this much, he only got out of there by the skin of his teeth, and within a month, the number is just gonna rise and rise and rise and rise, and everyone's gonna start asking, well, when the hell is it going to win? And look, it's already worked to some degree, because WWE noticed, Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer noticed, I noticed, a bunch of other people on the internet noticed. It is a wonderful organic narrative that we rarely see nowadays, and it's almost like reverse Goldberg, because Goldberg came in at 0-0, then it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 142, and it was like, oh, I can't believe it, but this one is already established, then you shine a spotlight on it. So yeah, you see, we're doing it but opposite. So ultimately, we are talking about bringing people in, not as rookies or boys and girls that have no experiences, but as something and as someone. It seems so obvious to say, but it actually doesn't happen that much. And another criticism, especially when it comes to NXT, is that we build these huge stories and these huge histories around these characters, and then they get to Raw and SmackDown and all that hard work is flushed away and they gotta restart. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So if we do have an opportunity here, we should take it, and so what if it fails? What's the alternative? Oh, we'll put Mansoor in a match against Dolph Ziggler and Dolph Ziggler will win. That's nothing against Dolph Ziggler, I've just seen it time and time again. Much like the Dead Man's 2, this was never a planned thing, but now that it has, we should clutch onto it with all of our claws, and we should extend it to the likes of an Adam Cole or a Tommaso Ciampa. There's this fear that if either of these guys went to the red or blue brand, they would be buried because of their size, but it doesn't have to be that way. Imagine on NXT TV, Tommaso Ciampa for months got a microphone and he was like, man, I'm gonna go up to Raw and I'm gonna cause such mayhem, I'm gonna find the light switch and I'm gonna turn it on and off. No, wait, that was Retribution, scrap that. But say he's made a big song and dance about taking out and annihilating Randy Orton. That's his big plan, that's his life's wish, that's what he wants to do. So when you do see him on Monday nights, you don't have to go, oh, it's the Tommaso Ciampa from NXT. You can be like, oh my gosh, it's Tommaso Ciampa. Somebody tell Randy Orton he's going to die. There's been too many NXT also-rans with sometimes NXT talent going back to NXT, so you've got to nip that in the bud. So if this has just fallen in your lap, my word, why wouldn't you try and use it? And don't give me this nonsense about, oh, it's too soon. It's too soon for Mansoor. It's not too soon. If you want to light a rocket under Mansoor's ass, light a rocket under Mansoor's ass. Otherwise, what happens? He does 50-50 booking or he loses all the time. Nobody cares about that stuff. It doesn't mean anything. Also, you only get one chance to make an impression. So if some dude does come out and say, hey, I've not been beaten for 2 years. Who wants to try me? I don't know about you, but as a viewer of a wrestling program, I am gonna plug myself in. Just don't do a WWE and have him come out on the first Raw that he's on and say, oh, I'm here 2 years to beat me, and then he just loses. Because we gotta teach the young guy a lesson. That sucks just as much. And the best part of all of this is that it hasn't happened to a guy who isn't talented. Mansoor is actually pretty good. The only thing he's lacking is experience. But what's he trying to do right now? Get that experience. So yeah, use this as a template. Let things build. Present people as stars that just so happen to have walked in the door. Surely then we can start building up a new roster that's filled with exciting hot new tamales. Especially because word on the street right now is that Andrade has requested his release. And do you know why he'd done that? Because ever since he'd moved from NXT to Raw and SmackDown, sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not there. It's everything I have just said. If nothing else, I'd just like a new fun story on either Raw or SmackDown that when it does happen makes me go, oh, it's so different. Like the Nexus back in 2011, or whenever the hell it was. We all know when it ended with John Cena winning that SummerSlam match that shouldn't have happened, but it doesn't mean we can't try it again, and this time, get the right decision. You made me there going, Simon, surely the right decision then means that Mansoor beats Randy Orton, and Mansoor beats Edge, and Mansoor beats Roman Reigns, and Mansoor beats Drew McIntyre. Why the hell not? Do you know how over he would be? And do you know what a star he would be if he beat all of those people? Surely that's why you build people up, so eventually you can knock them down like a bowling ball. That noise, no bowling ball ever has ever made that noise. Now, do not forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about all of this and maybe talk about the NXT call-ups that really got you. Killian Dane, for example. What the hell happened there? At least he's now back smashing it in NXT. Then like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com and read yourself some articles. There's videos around my head right now. Click it to stay on the channel, and everybody has social media. Come give What Culture a follow. That was annoying. My aside from What Culture, if Mansoor ever does see this, do not let them beat you, Mansoor. Say, no, I refuse. And if they kick you out the company, that's just gonna create buzz anyway, and you'll definitely get a job somewhere else. Now, I've said that, don't do that. Don't lose your job. I feel absolutely terrible, but man, go on a 42-year streak for all I care about, because in that 43rd year, when you do lose it, I tell you, the 90-year-old man, I'll be older than that, I don't know, I'll be crying, tears of sadness, but also tears of joy.